Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to today's episode of Average Joe Sports. In this one, we're continuing our breakdown of the NFL's top 100 list, going through numbers 29 to number 11, with the top 10 coming out sometime this weekend. So, without further ado, let's hop right into it. Starting with number 29, Julio Jones, wide receiver, Tennessee Titans, formerly Atlanta Falcons. This seemed like a little bit of a question mark move, at least in my opinion. I mean, Tennessee just doesn't seem like the type of team that Julio would like to fit into. Now, we'll see how it goes. They're a run first team. Mike Vrabel is a pound down your neck type of coach. And Julio Jones, he's just like a true number one. So we'll see how it goes. Is A.J. Brown going to get the second most targets? How's that going to deal with Julio? Because I know Julio had a pretty decent target share at Atlanta. We'll see how it goes in Tennessee. Jonnu Smith leaves, so that's obviously a big tight end. They got a lot of red zone targets. Expect Julio to get a lot more of those. I know one of the things that's troubled Julio in the past is just his lack of overall touchdowns. I mean, he would get the yards, but he just wouldn't get any touchdowns with it. I know whenever I picked him up 2 or 3 years ago in fantasy as my number one wide receiver, every week he'd get 90, 100, 120 yards, no touchdowns. He didn't score a touchdown until like week. But yeah, we'll see how his overall production goes in Tennessee. I'm expecting a pretty decent year, him and A.J. Brown on each side of the field. Going to be getting a lot better coverages for A.J. Brown, and of course, we know Derrick Henry. So if Derrick Henry can keep him true with the run, the play action pass should always be there. Moving on to number 28 on the list, we have Devin White, linebacker, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Everyone knows about Devin White. He's a beast. There was some talks on whether or not he was going to be franchised or if he would get a big new contract, which he ended up eventually doing, and then they tagged Chris Godwin. So we'll see how that goes next year. I don't see how they pay Chris Godwin. Chris Godwin's going to want top-tier wide receiver money, over 15 for sure, probably somewhere in the range of 18 to 20, which I don't think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to be wanting to do. But if this is Brady's last year, and then, if Brady goes, Gronk's going to go, it's a little bit of a domino effect, so they might want to keep someone like a Chris Godwin for whoever's next in line, whether it be Kyle Trask or somebody they bring in again. Devin White, he's a great linebacker. He's on that feared Tampa Bay defense that really just gave it to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. There's not much to say after that. Moving on to number 27 on the NFL's top 100 list, and my personal favorite lucky number, we have DeForest Buckner, defensive tackle, Indianapolis Colts. I know somewhat about this guy, but let's go ahead and go into his video real quick, and we'll hear what the players have to say about him.
Let's go, man!
When you look at DeForest Buckner, it's really another guy who not only meets the play test, but the eye test.
In 2020, DeForest Buckner set the Colts' single-season record for sacks by a defensive tackle with 9.5.
DeForest Buckner, man, he's about 6'8", about 300 pounds, and he's very athletic.
Another great play by Buckner. Great play by Buckner.
San Francisco traded him to the Colts for that first-round pick, and the Colts signed him to a fat contract. I think it might have been a little bit more than Chris Jones' contract, honestly.
Number 99 was named first-team All-Pro, and he's the second-ranked defensive tackle on the list.
Wow. How's that, deja vu?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he's better than Chris Jones, but that's just me being a homer, But DeForest Buckner, he's one of those, he's right there. It's Aaron Donald, it's Chris Jones, and it's DeForest Buckner, at least in my personal view. But, yeah, we'll see how he does. Great running back. Had a little bit of an injury issue. I don't remember if it was like a quad or some type of hamstring injury. I think he was out 6 weeks last year, which really paved the road for Kareem Hunt to take over the majority of the carries. So that was good for him. But whenever you have two number ones in your backfield, I mean, nothing's going to happen too drastically in terms of the fall off of the running game. As long as Baker Mayfield can continue to be a game manager and the defense is emerging with the additions of Jadeveon Clowney, we'll see how it goes. Their back end is still young. Greedy Williams, all those guys. We'll see how it goes. But Nick Chubb, another huge year. Definitely one of the top, probably 5 running backs going in fantasy this year. So, yeah, Nick Chubb. Gotta love him. Going to number 25 on the NFL's top 100 list, we have Bobby Wagner, linebacker, Seattle Seahawks. Let's go into his video real quick. Not that I don't know that much about Bobby Wagner. I just want to see what everyone says. Because, I mean, there's nothing but good things to say about Bobby Wagner. You know what I'm saying? One of the last pieces of the Legion of Boom. And number 25 on the NFL's top 100 list. Moving on to maybe a little bit of a controversial pick right here. People say that he's ranked way too low. I'll have to see the rest of the list to determine that. But at number 24, we have Lamar Jackson, quarterback, Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson, he's had some things go wrong. I know at the very beginning of the season this year, or in training camp, he got COVID. Picked up a little bit of an injury, I feel. I forget what it was, but he was out of practice for a few weeks, and now he's back, and everyone's asking, hey, did the league figure out Lamar Jackson? And he has to say, of course not. And I don't think the league really has. I mean, we know what Lamar Jackson is. He's a dual threat with better legs than an arm. I mean, that's what it's come down to, right? I think he would be in the top 5 rushing category as a running back with just his rush yards, not even counting his throwing yards. I mean, everyone knows that Lamar Jackson has to develop as a passer. You can't just toss it to your tight ends all the time. I mean, that's great. 8-9 yards here, 8-9 yards there, 6'5", you know. But every once in a while, you need to keep the defense true. And they're just gonna stack the box on you. If your wide receivers can't beat you, then why even bother? I mean, you get Sammy Watkins, a couple guys in the draft I'm forgetting about, but you get speed, and you need a big target guy. You know, I don't know if that's gonna be Sammy Watkins this year. I doubt it. He's probably gonna get injured, as all Chiefs fans know. You can only count on Sammy Watkins for like 10 games a year max. I mean, that's just how it is. Lamar Jackson, I mean, still has never beaten Patrick Mahomes. You're kind of in a block of the playoffs. You can't get past the divisional round. I know exactly how that feeling is, you know. And I don't think that they'll replace Lamar. He'll probably get a pretty fat contract after the year. You have to ask yourself, seriously, is this man's what we need as a passer? If you sign him and then trade him, I'm sure you can get a ton. Whether or not you want to rebuild or not, that's on you. Going on to number 23, we have Khalil Mack, linebacker. The Bears. Khalil Mack. John Gruden didn't want you, didn't want to pay you. And now you went to Chicago where you've made the playoffs 1 year. Played a trash game on Nickelodeon. Congratulations, I guess. I don't care one way or the other. But Khalil Mack, he's a great linebacker. He's one of the best, if not the best, you know. He's up there. Chicago Bears, their defense isn't the problem. It's always been quarterback, whether you have Noodle Arm Trubisky, and now it seems like you've gotten it figured out. Matt Nagy, I don't know what you're doing, bro. Announce that fucking Justin Fields is the day 1 starter, you know. Don't let fucking Andy Dalton be the week 1 starter, and then by week 3 or 4 you put in Justin Fields. Just fucking put him in from the fucking start and let him fucking learn. I don't understand, like, what these coaches are doing. Like, unless you have the unprecedented situation that Mahomes was in, where you can sit behind Alex Smith and learn the offense of an Andy Reid. Well, this isn't that. Fucking give him the reins and let's go. But this is about Khalil Mack. And he can do everything. A little weak when it comes, his coverage is dying off a little bit. Still get after the pass rusher. Still get into the backfield and tackle rushers for 3-4 yard losses. You know, Khalil Mack, always been great, always will be great. Would like to see him in the Hall of Fame, but without a ring or anything like that, it might be a while. Moving on Number 22 on the NFL Top 100 list, we have DK Metcalf, wide receiver, Seattle Seahawks. DK Metcalf, man, everybody remembers guys right during the draft process whenever they drop that picture. He's like the most buff dude everyone's ever seen in their life, dude. Like fucking 12-pack and all. But yeah, I mean, he's emerging into the league as a great wide receiver. Russell Wilson's #1 target. Crazy hair. Diva at times. But I'll be damned, bro. He's a great wide receiver. Let's go into his video and see what the people have to say about him. If you're listening on YouTube right now, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. It helps everyone find us, bring more people to our community. And without further ado, let's go into DK Metcalf.
I mean, from watching him, it looks like he wants all the smoke with everybody he's going against.
Huh? I'm here. What that mean? You had to say nothing to me.
See, it's little things like that, like, yeah, you know. Not saying that I dislike DK.
Just that angry mentality. He doesn't really have no friends on the field, and his ability to not just be big and strong, but be efficient after he catches the ball.
Touchdown, Seahawks!
That size, because I mean he's over there as big as me, as a linebacker, maybe even bigger. He's just such a mismatch for corners, and on top of that, just being such a physical player, that's what's allowed him to be so versatile and have that playmaking ability.
Play fake, looks, throws over the middle, ball is caught. Touchdown, Seahawks!
I love his ability to catch balls in traffic.
In the run game, he's gonna block you each and every play too, you know, so he's gonna give maximum effort in the pass game and in the run game.
We can do anything.
Everybody knows the play, man, against Budda. I've never been caught from behind.
The Cardinals down 13-7, about to be down more. Picked off by Baker. The chase is on.
One of the bad parts about that play was Russ threw a pick.
Metcalf might catch a Baker trying to outrun him.
So after I saw Budda catch the ball, I just
Damn.
went to go get him.
I look up at the Jumbotron and I see this guy, you know, coming after me.
And Metcalf just refused to let it go. It was unbelievable how much ground he made up. That had to be 10 yards on a very fast Budda Baker. And
That play is outstanding, though. You have to love that play.
I knew I was going to hawk him down and tackle him. It was just, you know, a matter of where.
I am weak. You gotta love that play. Moving on to number 21 on the list. And the player that was just in that last video, we have Fred Warner, linebacker, 49ers. Another man that got paid. How many people on this list have gotten fucking paid this offseason? A ton. But you gotta love it. Fred Warner. He's the leader of the defense, especially last year whenever Nick Bosa and Solomon Thomas go down in the same game. Not that Solomon Thomas is the leader of the defense, but he's a piece, you know. Go down in the same game with the torn ACL. So man's had to fucking step up, and you know they were a bad team. I'm not gonna say bad. They were not consistent. Well, that's another word for bad, I guess. But yeah, he was the leader of the defense last year. Fred Warner. He picked off Mahomes in the Super Bowl. That was that really bad one, the first one. Right in the middle of the field, tried to push it to Tyreek. Fred Warner just jumped in front of him. He's on the Pat McAfee show occasionally. He loves to fucking hit you. He just seems like a true football guy. Who doesn't love true football guys that love the sport, advocates for the sport? And that's what Fred Warner is. Moving on to number 20, we have Dalvin Cook, running back, Minnesota Vikings. Dalvin Cook, who remembers the game last year where he just absolutely ripped apart the fucking Packers? I'm talking about, was it like 4 rushing touchdowns? I won a little bit of money on fucking FanDuel whenever I did their fantasy thing, and I picked up that guy, Dalvin Cook, that game. Yes, sir. Dalvin Cook. I really enjoy Dalvin Cook. I mean, the only thing about Dalvin Cook I wish he would work on, you know, is his ability to stay healthy. You know, it's always been a problem for it. I'm pretty sure whenever he was at Florida State, he was injured first year in the preseason. I think he had a massive run, and then he tore something. Was it an ACL? Came back, was cool. Just gets the little dings that players like that seem to always do. You know, if you're injury prone in the NFL, that never really goes away. Some players just deal with it, and of course you could get the fucking occasional injury and then never the Brady ACL. Not really, you know, have to not play through the season again. You know, everyone's talking about, oh, it's torn, phantom torn MCL. I digress. But Dalvin Cook, great player, great running back, can catch the ball out of the backfield. Is always kind of expected to get over 100 all-purpose yards. Let's get one of those few running backs that can get you 100 receiving yards and 100 rushing yards. You love to see that, especially out of your big fantasy people. Top 5 running back. Maybe on the outside of the top 5, to give you a top 5, I mean, it'd be McCaffrey, Saquon, probably. Well, everyone's out on Saquon. I mean, we'll see how the injury does. But anyway, let's just put McCaffrey, Zeke, Kamara, Derrick Henry, of course, and maybe you can put Dalvin Cook there. Moving on to number 19 on the list, we have Budda Baker. Everyone loves them some Budda Baker. Let's go into the video.
I remember him being talked about as being the best defensive player we were going to play against all year.
Who do you think is the top player in the league at your position?
At my position, I would say Budda Baker is.
What a fucking savage!
And tell me why.
Because he's just versatile. One play he's blitzing off the edge. Another play he's covering a receiver. The next play he's covering the tight end. Just all around type of player that I am. So much passion for the game.
We gotta wrap up.
Yeah, I would say me.
One of my favorite players right now in the NFL is Budda Baker. I think he's a very old school player, the way that he throws his body around, and he doesn't use the excuse that might be the shortest guy in the field, but he's going to be the most physical and he's going to be the fastest guy. He's going to attack you every single snap, and that's what I love about him. He's just got a reckless abandonment for his body.
It's Budda Baker on the
So fast.
That man moving, good job. That boy moving. You better get your ass down.
Honestly, I think Budda's the best safety in the game. I mean, there was multiple times when we played him where, I mean, our plays were literally designed to find
Arizona and their fucking find of safeties, bro. Him, Tyron, shit. Moving on to number 18 on the NFL's top 100 list, we have DeShaun Watson, quarterback, Houston Texans. Now everybody knows about the off-field issues. I'm not going to go over that. Everyone already knows. Let's just talk about this guy strictly as a player. And the only other guy in the AFC that I can really ever see beating Mahomes is DeShaun Watson. That's if he goes on a different team. Let's say he goes to the Dolphins. That's fucking terrifying to me. DeShaun Watson on the Dolphins with that defense and DeShaun Watson and all those new targets, I mean, we would have a fucking problem. I mean, I still think we would win, but we would have a problem on our hands. But DeShaun Watson, he's still at Houston. All the legal things. His video is only 1 minute and 28 seconds when everyone else's videos are like over 3 minutes. So that has to be, you know, a lot of players don't really want to talk to him like that. But let's go into their videos just so I can see who it is and whatnot, and if any players decided not to do it, or if it's just all highlights or what it is. Straight into the highlights.
Nobody nobody knows when DeShaun Watson will take the field again. His future is uncertain.
Oh, wow.
But his talent is unquestioned.
They really talking about that man dirty.
Quite simply, he can do things on the football field that few others can.
Watson improvised. DeShaun Watson is able to escape right down the field. DeShaun throwing upside of the end zone. Touchdown!
In 2020, he led the NFL with a career-high 4,823 passing yards.
Mahomes would have beat him if he played the last week.
He also threw a career-high 33 touchdowns.
What a throw. This one is just, right on the money.
The skill is no mystery. Almost everything else is.
Moving on, we have number 17, Xavien Howard, cornerback, Miami Dolphins. Now, was this like a week or two before training camp, or was this during training camp, where this guy basically came out and said that, hey, the team assigned me to a shitty deal, too long of a contract, not enough pay, I've way overperformed my contract, and I mean, he's right, and he had his whole social media post about it, which really put a lot of people into a frenzy, talking about, hey, pay this man's. And they eventually, I think, came to a new understanding, whatever that is. I don't have the numbers right in front of me. But Xavien Howard, he's scary, bro. He's a top 5 cornerback, that's for sure. Picked off Patrick Mahomes, I think it was twice. One was like a tip, but one was an extremely, extremely great play that he made on Tyreek Hill in the back of the end zone. Xavien Howard can shut down any number 1 wide, plays both sides of the field. Xavien Howard. There's a lot of good things to say about Myles Garrett, but one bad thing I would have to say is that man's terrible mustache. I'm sorry, I just don't like it, bro. Maybe just like shave it off and start new, but that is a top 5 bottom mustache I've ever seen in my life. But let's talk about his play on the field. He's a defensive nightmare for offensive lines, offensive tackles, guards, anybody who just so happens to line up over this guy. He fucking has extremely fast, first moves, and has a good up and under, great hand placement, explosive, everything you would want in a defensive end you got in Myles Garrett. Last year didn't have any problems. Everyone knows the year before that. Everyone knows what happens. The situation with Mason Rudolph and that whole thing. Top 10 defensive player in the league. With the addition of Jadeveon Clowney on the other side. And a lot of their corners and safeties coming back healthy. I expect the Browns to be there in the conversation when it comes to playoff time. And keep a lookout for my records prediction coming out soon. I'm going to be going division by division. But I'm a little bit down on the Browns. I'm not as high as everyone else. You'll see in my record prediction video coming up. A lot of people say it's controversial. Well, I'll let you decide. Going to number 15 on the NFL Top 100 list, we have the Cheetah, Tyreek Hill, the wide receiver, Chiefs. He's a human highlight reel. What can I say? Has the most touchdowns of over 50 yards in NFL history. Tyreek Hill, you can't keep your eyes off of him. Him and Travis Kelce, obviously, one of the best duos in the league, if not the best duo. With Mahomes to boot, it's almost unfair. And we do need a little bit more option at wide receiver, but Tyreek Hill fills a lot of holes that the Chiefs have on their offense. Especially without a clear-cut number 3 wide receiver right now, Tyreek Hill is even that much more important. He can take a 50-yard little flick pass to the house, has the possibility to make 10 people miss on the defense. Tyreek Hill, he's electric, fastest man in the NFL by far. Let's go into his video and see what everyone else has to say about him. You calling me a return specialist, Jalen Ramsey?
played them in the AFC Championship game in 2018, and there was a punt on their sideline, and I just remember thinking to myself, man, I hope this guy doesn't make me look silly. I just can't explain how unique his ability is when he gets in those tight spaces to be able to decelerate, re-accelerate, and get the top speed. That's really what sets him apart from everyone else.
He's a beast!
What he's done for my career, what he's done for this team is not talked about enough.
That boy is quick as hell, yo. Damn.
Oh my God, that boy he moving a whole different speed, bro. It's a different world.
I'm a quick guy. He's probably the quickest, the fastest, the twitchiest, the most elusive guy that I've ever seen.
What do you need? A touchdown for the cheetah. They dial him up, and he just outran a very athletic secondary.
You mess up just running so damn fast. Too shallow still. Yeah, just be a 20 so you can be cool. Running fast, bro.
In 2020, the cheetah leapt to new heights.
Closing in on the top 10. So at number 14, we have Alvin Kamara, running back, New Orleans Saints. He's going to be able to catch a lot of passes out of the backfield. He's going to get his running touches, obviously. So we'll see how Jameis Winston does in a second year of the Sean Payton offense. I'm expecting him to do well. I'm expecting Alvin Kamara to do well. Top 5 running back in fantasy. Going to get you a lot of points. Going to get you a lot of touchdowns, hopefully. Alvin Kamara is one of those running backs with just pure swagger. You gotta love the nose ring. You gotta love the grill. You gotta love everything. The long hair don't care club. You already know it's coming back. Alvin Kamara scoring 5 touchdowns on fucking Christmas last year, and one of the greatest performances I've seen of his in a very, very long time. Probably the best of his career. His game is so well. He's so shifty. He's in between the tackles. He almost has a little bit of Le'Veon Bell in him whenever he's waiting for the line to just open up a little bit of a hole for him. I love everything in his game. Alvin Kamara. Going to number 13 on the NFL's top 100 list, we have Jalen Ramsey, cornerback, Los Angeles Rams. Let's go right into his video, because I know there's going to be a lot of people with a lot of different things to say about this man.
Jalen Ramsey. I mean, just his trash talk. He's strong, competitive. I mean, it's just a battle every time we go up against each other.
Without putting me into the factor, I think the best kind of corner would be at the line, kind of early on, be Jalen Ramsey. It makes everybody's job easier when you got somebody like that.
Being a standout in the secondary generally means locking down opponents' #1 receivers. Those who faced Jalen Ramsey faced little space and little chance.
Outstanding coverage by Jalen Ramsey.
He's just a guy that's different from everybody else. You know, when you turn on tape that, he's a guy that's backside, and he's going to be man-to-man on your best guy, and it's going to be a long day.
It was a long day for receivers DeAndre Hopkins, Allen Robinson, Terry McLaurin, Mike Evans, and DK Metcalf, who all squared off against Ramsey in 2020.
Another suffocating effort by Ramsey.
This group averaged less than 30 yards per game and 0 touchdowns.
Jalen Ramsey worth every penny.
You can just tell his instincts, his knowledge of the game.
They just tried to get you inside and give him a wide split, run the slant so you can be aggressive and I'm going to just go.
His overall ability is just unmatched.
Forced his way out of Jacksonville a couple years ago. Gave up 2 first-round picks. That's why LA hasn't had a first-round pick, and I don't even know how fucking long. But he's the leader of the back end. They got Aaron Donald in the front end. I expect LA to go a long way next year. Or this year, I'm sorry. Moving on to number 12 on the NFL Top 100 list, and honestly one of the nicest guys in the NFL, we have Russell Wilson, quarterback, Seattle Seahawks.
The number 1 player in the NFL this year on this countdown.
Russell Wilson.
Love you, boy. Let's get it, man.
Any one play that stands out that he made that like was really memorable?
Probably how fast he threw the ball and hit me in my face.
Ross steps up in the pocket, fires into the end zone. It is incomplete. Oh, I just saw the replay. Could have had a little. Oh, could have had that. It hit Metcalf on the bottom of his face mask.
I told him not doing it no more because it low-key hurt.
It's no surprise former Yankees draft pick Russell Wilson has a good fastball, but it's his touch on the deep ball that is.
Yeah, Russell Wilson definitely has to be one of the best deep ball throwers. Whether it's him throwing to Lockett or him throwing to DK, beautiful every time. Moving on to number 11 on the NFL Top 100 list. And the last player we'll be reviewing on today's episode, we have Stefon Diggs, wide receiver, Buffalo Bills. Stefon Diggs goes to the Buffalo Bills, has probably the best year of his career. Was on Minnesota for all those teams. Didn't have a quarterback quite like Josh Allen. People, as soon as they start to listen to the podcast, the YouTube, they'll quickly figure out that I'm not the biggest fan of Josh Allen. I mean, he's a good quarterback. I can admit that he's a good quarterback. But when everybody else says that he has all these just like great things, they appoint him as the next to already dethrone Mahomes, and Mahomes hasn't even been beaten by dude. Like, it's hard for me to take these teams seriously, like the Ravens, like the Buffalo Bills, teams that just haven't fucking beat us. How can you fear somebody who's never beat you? Stefon Diggs, he's a great wide receiver. I really like his game. He's another guy that is going to get over probably 100 receptions plus, maybe even 110, 120. Who the fuck knows? Probably not 120 because there's a lot of mouths to feed in Buffalo now. We'll see how the running attack goes. Touchdowns are a mystery because, you know, he could get some. But Josh Allen loves to run it in at the one. We'll see how that goes. But Stefon Diggs, you definitely want to hop on him in fantasy. If you're in a deep league, like I'm talking like a 12-man league, this guy could be a first rounder. If you're in a PPR league, keep that in mind because mans will get the receptions. I guarantee that. And that'll do it for today's episode of Average Joe Sports. Comment down below your favorite player in today's countdown. Make sure to like, and I'll see you guys in another episode soon. Thank you.